What's up, y'all? Welcome to the first episode of Real Talk. I'm your host, Luke Chamley, joined by my co-host,
Aiden Rose.
For this first episode, we're going to be doing a couple of films nominated for Best Picture. They're probably the two front runners, at least in our minds, and like popular opinion, we'd probably say. So that'll be Sinners and One Battle After Another. So do you want to start with one in particular or just...
Full disclosure, I have seen both of these films in theaters, but many months ago. I've seen One Battle After Another twice, Sinners once, and right off the bat, what I can tell you is I'm a fan of one of these pictures and not the other. And I'm gonna let you guys figure out what's what as we move along here.
It'll be a little mystery to discover for the audience. I have also seen both of these in theaters, and I rewatched One Battle in its entirety yesterday, and I watched parts of Sinners this morning. So,
All right, so he's in the same boat.
similar boat, that's for sure. Similar opinions too, but I don't think I'm as harsh on one as you are.
Well, let's hop right in. One Battle, since it's fresh on your mind.
Sure. Well, I loved it. Holds up on rewatch. One moment, the pacing is so fantastic in this film. It's 2 hours and 42 minutes, but it breezes by. Out of curiosity, the prologue of the film, which is their love story, Perfidia Beverly Hills and Ghetto Pat's love story, I was curious how long that actually is. It's almost exactly 30 minutes long. And then they do the match cut to Willa, Charlene, in the dojo. And that was honestly the one part where I started to be like, wow, maybe this doesn't hold up as much as I thought. But then it ended, and I was in, and there was sensei and everything, and then I was back in it, and didn't miss a beat from there on.
What part, like when he is like going to her school and he's like hitting his vape?
No, because that's after they skip back. That part I was back in.
Oh, you're saying before the
when it was
match
still
cut.
it was in the moment between Perfidia getting caught.
Spoiler alerts, by the way, guys.
And yeah, obviously there will be heavy spoilers for both films.
Just one.
Well,
Battle After Another. Continue.
Well, they do. I mean, Sinners spoils the fucking movie itself at the beginning, to be honest, which we'll talk about. But
or if you watch Movie Magic, you know this.
That's true as well. But it's like
for the viewer, Movie Magic is a show we do.
A segment on the show. With our first one was hosted by Colin, and he talked about the opening scene of Sinners. Check that out if you haven't already. And I just it wasn't necessarily that it was badly paced. It was just that every time they show Perfidia, I'm like, you're such a child. Like, you're such a little baby.
Wasn't that the point?
I know, but it frustrates me still. I think they get that point across, and she is like a critique on a revolutionary who's just in it for the fun. And Pat is a critique on that as well, but then he becomes a father and is like, I'm going to kind of abandon the revolution and like just raise my daughter. So I think they're both critiques in their own way. Perfidia is like especially annoying because she is such like she uses the revolution to like put down Pat when he's like, we have to take care of this child. And she's like, she says all like the catchphrases of like, you can't contain me type shit. And like, I'm my own woman, which is true. But then it's like, but you're using that as an excuse to not raise your child right now, which you chose to have. And it is revolutionary to get an abortion. So, you know. Perfidia, I don't know. Perfidia always, she just was dragging on me.
Yeah, I guess that's the one part of the story where maybe those don't link up, but obviously the baby serves as like the entire center of the story on both sides.
I think probably the most intelligent character in the film is Willa. Maybe Sensei, but Willa is like, I was thinking about this when I was watching it. I was like, I think you can see like the effects of the revolutionaries being raised not as revolutionaries, but having to discover it themselves. So they still have gaps in like their personalities, which holds them back from being like a pure version of a revolutionary. But Willa is raised by a revolutionary. And so I think she doesn't have a lot of those gaps. And she is like a stronger person because of it.
And she is Sensei.
Sensei helps, but her and Sensei don't interact. They have the one
Well, on screen.
small
but,
little
I mean,
bit.
that's the point.
Well, I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, true. So let's move on to
Yeah, sure.
less story, more of like, we're talking about Best Picture. One of these movies was shot on IMAX. One of these was shot on VistaVision. I'm going to go with the VistaVision looks better.
I agree it looks better. I don't know how much I would say is because it's on VistaVision and because of other changes that they have. You know what
Sure,
I mean?
yeah. Obviously, like the direction these two films are in are different, but I don't know. Everything that's supposed to be good about IMAX, I just don't think was really. I think that the Sinners was shot on a few formats actually.
It was.
I think it's primarily IMAX.
Yeah.
And any behind the scenes stuff I've seen is like them with the IMAX camera.
They
the,
hype
the
up
one
the
scene we
IMAX
were
shit.
watching where Kugler's explaining handing the cigarette or like Michael B.
Yes,
Jordan.
that is so stupid.
But yeah, I don't know. That didn't really. The only shot I can really think of off the top of my head that I was like, okay, this is cool, is that opening shot where you kind of get like the tracking of like the old like Model T pulling up to the church. From that point on, I'm like,
I like when they're in the Model T in the cotton fields. Those shots are beautiful.
they're beautiful, but they're like, I don't know, they're not very interesting to me.
I think they're pretty visually interesting. I'm not like, I want the whole movie to be in the cotton field, but the parts when they're in the cotton field driving,
Yeah.
that's one of
they
the
definitely
things
look
that was
good.
the most interesting parts of that movie for me is everything before it turns to night. I'm like, the walk through the day is way more interesting to me than when they're like in the juke joint for most of them.
The juke joint is like where it gets unbearable for me, where I'm like, what am I watching? So I'd agree with that. I was somebody that was just watching it, and I was just like, man, this is not. I'm like, hopefully we're going somewhere, and this is gonna happen. And then like, you randomly have that like vampire thing landing on that lawn. That's kind of like the break into the descent, because like everything up to that, like you said, you're kind of like falling onto the train station, and that's like cool enough because you're just like, okay, we're going somewhere. You get the two characters. It didn't blow me away that Michael B. Jordan's playing two characters at all.
Same. I think that's such a gimmick. Almost
like Jack and Jill?
100% of the time. I wouldn't say it was Jack and Jill level, but it felt like that fucking movie with Tom Hardy where he plays two brothers and one of them's like a twisted psycho and the other one's a bit more reserved. And I'm like,
Well, and this one was even worse because they're kind of the same character.
they're the same guy, dude. They just, one of them likes
One of them wears red and one wears
of them
blue.
likes fat women and the other one likes mixed race women. That's like the one difference.
Yeah, man. So
And yeah, exactly. One wears blue and one wears red. It's like, yeah.
And on top of that, there's really no story to these guys other than like they came from Chicago and they're back in this town.
I would say there's story that's hinted at for them. Like, I think there's stuff
The brothers.
that they do love.
And when he gets infected,
No, we're
I gotta go in
cousins.
there.
That there's some goofy stuff with that. I think they do a good. I think one thing which I did pick this up by watching someone talk about this and pointed out was they have Irish beer and Italian wine or something like that. And so it's implied that they played the same guy in Chicago and played both sides of the mobs and then stole from them. I thought that was an interesting thing, which is like they don't just explain to you, but you can piece that together.
I think those kind of details are cool if they play to a larger thing. This one
And it
was
doesn't
just like,
play to a larger thing.
this thing was just like vampire shindig.
And it could have played to a larger thing if instead of the KKK showing up at the end, it was both the mob showing up at the end, maybe. That might have been okay.
That's
a callback. That could have been actually maybe an okay. Because that did seem, while I enjoy just as like an action set piece, as an action scene, I enjoy when, is it Stack? Is it Smoke? The one with the fucking blue hat. When he kills all the clan members, I was like, yeah, kill the clan members. That's cool. But
Yeah.
it wasn't really like a huge payoff.
I did hate that because, like, I would say with both of these films, the biggest thing they have in common is they equally had terrible trailers for the movie.
I can't even remember the Sinners trailer, but I remember the one
I can
battle
remember
trailer
watching both and
scaring
I'm being
me.
completely confused about what I was watching. Like, they do not, which I mean, you talk about like trailers that over explain it or give you the whole thing. These are like the opposite of that, and they give you like
nothing.
So I remember the trailer being that shot of whatever Smokestack, Michael B. Jordan shooting the KKK, and I was like, okay, this movie seems interesting, but really there was like no connect other than like this loose thematic
They hint at it at the very
time period
beginning.
that they're putting them in, so then these things relate to one another.
They hint at it at the beginning because they get the mill house or whatever
to go
from a
there.
clan guy.
True.
But I was like, this is weak. When they did the clan guy stuff at the beginning, I was like, oh, so the vampire's gonna be like a clan guy, right? And I think the angle of the vampire guy has interesting things, but it doesn't come back to the clan stuff. So then when the clan comes back at the end, it's like, what are we doing? Can we just pick?
Yeah,
kinda
it
pick
felt
a
like they didn't
lane?
have an ending for the thing, because like that thing kind of wraps up. It actually really doesn't until that like after credit scene where
Which
you see him.
one?
I know exactly. I hate
There's
that.
like 4.
But the real after credit scene where he's like in the future and he's talking to the whatever, that I hated that so much. At least it like put a period on it.
I kind of like that one a little bit.
Yeah, didn't do it for me, man. I was just like,
I
God.
wasn't in love with it, but I was like, oh, that's interesting.
It just felt like a sorry excuse for missing. Not that like there was ever a part of the story where I'm like I was really into, so therefore I was following it to an ending. I was just like, what am I watching past? I get the they went for something that plays on like a fantasy element and then
sure.
the relation to the thing, but it was just like a disconnect for me. I don't know. They didn't serve each other.
I agree with that. I didn't feel a real. I felt a disconnect as well. Like the Remick guy, he's interesting. I think it's interesting you make him an Irish guy who's obsessed with music collecting. Essentially, is like why he's trying to get these guys, and especially the main character whose name I always forget, but the guy who's the great singer. Like that is like an interesting angle of a vampire. And that he's not racist is interesting, but then they make the big bad guys at the very end just be clan members anyways. So it's like pick a lane, kind of.
The whole movie is
they
pick a
kinda just
lane, man.
half-ass both of them.
Yeah.
And the thing I like about the day in the life part in the first half is that there's a lot of like interesting like real history in that, which I think could have served something deeper, but I don't know if it could have served a vampire movie.
I think them making it a vampire movie ruined a lot of those things, because
I agree.
then you could double back with the thing we're talking about at the beginning of them being somewhere else playing both sides of the mob in Chicago or something else like that. Like there was a lot of
More of a
tidbits of
crime
history.
thriller-esque.
And the
than, like,
location is really
fantasy.
cool and interesting, and like they had
That's
a lot
true.
of those elements there, but I just think it was trying to do too much.
I agree. It's
And
like two different movies.
I really think of like the title of the movie too, and like what they were trying to like get at with like sinners and religion, and that was like, imagine we're already talking about the disconnect of like these three things, and then on
that
top
is the
of that,
third layer. That we
that
didn't
they're
even
trying to
mention yet.
unpack, and it's just like, what is going on here, man?
And that, we kind of joked about it when Colin said that his dad's the bad guy. There's truth that his dad is like kind of a bad guy. But yeah, that just serves the point of like this is like a third story arc.
I really hate
almost.
that setup too, because it's like that classic horror thing of like you explain where it's going to go, and then they do like the literally like stereotypical, you just flash like the
24
thing.
hours earlier. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
I'm talking about
about
that, and then when they like flash like the weird monster thing at the
I hate
beginning, I hate that.
Okay, so I started playing it this morning when I was like drinking coffee, and
Bad way to start your morning, guys. Do not.
no, straight up, I was pissed. I was like, why do they have this opening intro? This sucks. If they just started it as it starts of the day starting, it would have been way more compelling. Like, even though I don't love the vampire shit, having some mystery to it would have been a little bit better.
Or at least, you know what? It doesn't even play to the complete day, right? Because does the story end the next morning? Is that the thing on sunrise? Maybe I just never even thought about this.
No,
but-
it basically starts at like, let's just say like sunrise
yeah,
to
8 in the morning, whatever.
to the next sunrise.
Okay. Boo.
And then an after credit scene 40 years later or whatever.
Yeah. Moving on to One Battle, and that is, I remember a very different feeling of being in that theater and watching the opening scene, and that is amazing. You get that first shot of Perfidia, like walking across the top of that like overhang, and then the shot, typical kind of like, set up to like this mini event that's gonna happen. That's like the catalyst for everything else. And those shots are amazing. Avon Barksdale is in there.
Yes. Oh my God.
That was really good.
That was such a surprise.
I know.
The first time I was like, what?
Yeah,
Man, fuck, I can't remember the guy's name anyways, but
yeah, I'm trying to think of it too.
I love
Avon
him.
Barksdale from The Wire. But and then from that point on, you're just kind of like not quite in the action of it, right? Because then it's like
They have a big lull.
Yeah.
But it serves it well. It's not a lull where I was like taken out of it the first or second time. I was like, oh. Because there's a lull in the action, but then they have to like develop the new place where they live and those characters and how much the characters have changed in like 16 years or whatever. So I was still hooked on it.
And then the transition shot, right, is like the Steely Dan song that starts playing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because they
Dirty Work
match cut
to
from
the-
Babyface to
Yeah.
her as 16 and they start playing
That's good.
Dirty Work.
That is good.
That was one thing I was going to talk about too is the
Music in these two movies. I was gonna say that too.
I think the music in Sinners is really strong and serves its purpose well. And it helps because it's like more of a score and it doesn't have much contemporary music as One Battle does.
I love the music of One Battle though.
I like it a lot, but I do have a problem with like, it's all like kind of rock and roll, which is great music. But
in
like
One Battle?
in One Battle, it's a
You're talking
lot
about
of
the
rock and roll.
score or the
Or sorry, like the
needle drops.
contemporary soundtrack.
Okay.
Yeah, like the needle drops, like Steely
Yeah.
Dan, and then they have obviously the end. We'll talk about American Girl, but there are other songs too that I can't remember. I should have wrote them down. But like, there's like no hip hop in it at all, and I feel like that is one of the more revolutionary coded types of music, also black music, and like, it kind of felt like there should be at least one hip hop song in it. I feel like that would be a good
What's the song? Is it just score when like Pussycat is like
Jungle
robbing
Pussy?
that bank, or Jungle Pussy is robbing that bank? There's no music.
I don't think there's music. I think there's.
I don't think there
only
needs
score.
to be music.
I don't know if there
remember
is any
that
score
scene,
either until the chase.
No, there probably is. That dude,
Maybe
I love
really
that score,
low
though,
underneath.
The boom, boom, boom.
I do like that.
That's really good.
I
Shout
like
out,
it.
shout out Johnny Greenwood and the gang.
Yeah, he is good. He's good. But the Ludwig guy is really good for Sinners too.
I
think
think-
that music, the music is one of the strongest parts of Sinners for me.
I'd agree.
And I love the scene in Sinners where they have the time traveling, all the musicians.
I was gonna
throughout
bring that up. I did not
history.
like that.
I thought that was super fucking cool. I love that shit. That was when they were leaning into the fantasy perfectly.
I think I was just already out at that point, so maybe I wasn't interpreting
was
that
not- I
freshly.
never-
I just remember seeing that and just being like, okay, it's just another like kind of gimmick thing to like move us through here.
I disagree that it was a gimmick. I think that is like one of the parts where it's like they should have played really hard into the Irish guy, Remick, and like that more in the other parts of the movie, I think, to make it more cohesive.
I guess would have helped.
I think that part was good. And like the good thing is like what I liked about that is like it showed what makes Remick good is that he's like an Irish guy, so he is like an oppressed group of people who also have like a very rich history of song throughout all of Irish history. And that is like a great parallel with like African American history and like slaves bringing over music. And then that kind of getting corrupted a bit by gospel. Not corrupted by gospel, but like religion, which they get forced upon them. And then they turn it into gospel, which is like their own kind of reconnecting with their past with like the religion that they've now adopted. And I think that is like an interesting parallel between like all the Juke Joint members and like Remick. But that's the thing is they don't really fully nail those two together at any point.
No, they do not.
That's the problem.
Let's move on to kind of controversial
Sure.
lighting.
I think this mostly applies to one of them.
I think they could definitely be talked about in both of them, but especially
Sure.
one.
Sure.
Where were the lights in Sinners?
You know, I was not hugely opposed to the lighting in Sinners. There are parts where I'm like, I can't see a fucking thing right now, especially in theaters. I remember there were parts in the theaters
yeah,
where I was like,
man.
actually, what is happening? I cannot tell. But when I was watching it on my TV, the parts in the juke joint, it's very warm, but like I could tell what was going on.
The juke joint is fine. It's a lot of those scenes, even off the bat when they're moving around. It's like there was no like layering to shit. Like you would just like
Single
if,
light
they
is
would
what it
they were
felt
just
like.
trying to like silhouette everything, but like very subtly. And then they were playing into that thing with the eyes,
Yeah, I
sunlight
didn't
with
like
the
that
eyes,
much.
and that like obviously there's some power in the visual of seeing the eye light, and then they were trying to play into that as like the something with the vampires. I honestly couldn't tell you what it was.
It's kind of like the vampires had a much sharper glint
Yeah.
in their eye.
Yeah, so they were like,
and then it would turn like red when
yeah,
they were.
so they were trying to
when
make
they're
it
really
subtle if you
vampires, which
weren't,
was like-
and it was just, yeah, man, I don't know. That
It didn't work though because, like you're saying, it kind of sacrificed normal eye light in a lot of other
yeah,
scenes.
man. And then you have to play into like they had to play in
into
a really dark color palette for most of that like beginning stuff,
yeah.
and it's just, I don't know. That's
And
what,
the-
I
and the
think that's
only-
part of why I didn't like the visuals that much.
I don't blame you for that. And like the only characters that have like really striking appearances are Smoke and Stack, but it's only because they have a red hat and a blue hat, and like a red tie and a blue tie, and it's like kind of a lot of the other outfits are pretty lackluster, honestly.
I mean, the one chick has like a dress, I think.
Well, a
Josh
couple of
Allen's
chicks have
wife.
dress. Which one?
Josh Allen's wife.
She does have a dress. I was thinking about Smoke or the other one. The other twins' significant other had like a big dress on. She had a pretty okay outfit, but it was kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's not like, I get they were trying to be like period accurate, I guess, but you can still be period accurate and like zhuzh them up a bit. Give them something distinct, more than just the twins who are
No, that was
distinguished by
enough.
the colors. Like it's so weird, but.
Meanwhile, in one battle I liked Leo's dress for the entire thing.
He has a great costume. It's yeah.
Sensei, also good. That,
And then
like,
when he's
full
playing
zip
with
Puma.
the denim jacket or
Yes,
whatever,
dude.
that is great. I honestly Willa's like black leather
Yeah.
jacket, white shirt, like blue dress. That shit rocked. A lot of the revolutionaries had great drip. That's what I was thinking. Is it's so funny how Lockjaw has no
Lockjaw's,
fucking
yeah.
drip whatsoever. he
Dude,
looks
those
like a
tight-
goofy loser.
But those tight shirts that they got Shawnee Boy in, come on.
Yeah, he looked ugly as hell. And that was the point. I think that was good. And it was a good juxtaposition of like all the revolutionaries got style. But this dude, he's got nothing. He's just a little hater.
Well, I think he was like, it was to show how like tense he is because
Oh,
of the tightness of
He's
his
a button up,
stuff.
orderly
Yeah.
type of guy.
I
His
love-
haircut sucks, but it's like and
Well,
just
yeah,
a little bit on the top so he can just wet it.
For
and
that great scene in the
pull it
elevator
down.
where he
That
like
was a good
licks that
part.
comb. That's really
That's a
good,
good
man.
part.
I think the thus far untalked about third act of One Battle is the Christmas Adventurers, and I've heard some people, I mean mostly on the right side of things, talk about their disdain for that as an inclusion, but I feel like that that's an important part.
Oh my god, for sure.
I mean, obviously it's like the final act, right? But
They get introduced in the second act because they spur on the conflict of really the whole thing of him hunting down Willa. And
it's like
Bob.
the double conflict because then you get the scene of like he's chasing them, they're chasing him.
Which is a great,
Leo's like trying to play catch up.
that is great.
Hits
I
that
think-
great whistle.
Para allá! No para allá! That shit is good. I think though that the Christmas Adventurers are in like just the perfect amount.
Yeah,
They have
pretty subtle.
the
You just like walking
one-
through his house to the secret base.
yes, the secret base scene is like perfectly haunting because they don't play spooky music or anything like that. They're just weirdos.
Dude, what is that thing?
And you just see them in their half-zip Patagonias and shit.
Yes.
And it is like the perfect level of creepy, controlling, from the shadows, like white supremacist people.
What did that like really old guy say? Like at the very end,
It should be clean.
clean enough, to
Clean
eat
enough
off.
so we can eat off the floor.
Oh yeah, God.
And that's all he says, but he like commands that scene so well. You think he's like fucking Sleepy Joe, you know? And he kind of is. Not like Sleepy Joe's a racist. Well, maybe. I don't know him that well. But, you know, I think there's a commentary about that for sure.
Yeah, but that stuff is good.
That stuff is great. And that's what I think is so good is like they mention that the chicken factory that gets raided is owned by one of the Christmas adventurers. So Lockjaw's fucking them over in that way. And he makes them look dumb because they didn't know that he, like, I love black girls, that type of shit. And I think it exposes, like, how much the way in which they are trying to control the world of One Battle, and it's commentary on how they control the real world, of, like, we will control it from, like, having the strings up here. We're not trying to go in ourselves and like raid all these migrants and like deport them necessarily. We're going to like have institutional changes to like have basically a bunch of goons do that for us. And Lockjaw is a goon. And that's like, you know, he like wants to get in there and he almost gets in there, but he's also he's so like conflicted with his emotions.
I do remember. I think everyone thought the end of his story was going to be in that SUV, and it is weird that he
too.
tries to go back. Like,
It's because
to the
he's
very end.
so
I guess he has nothing else, so he's just
Exactly.
like, yeah. Because that last scene is really good, actually, where he like walks back in and they talk to him, and he like kind of like tries to explain it to them.
I was raped in reverse.
Yeah, dude.
A semen demon? That one guy, his only lines are like the haters and punks and the ne'er-do-wells or something like that. And then he says, a semen demon? That's like his only lines in the whole movie. Steals the show.
Truly, man.
But Lockjaw, like, I think it's like really telling that he still loves Perfidia and all that, because when he's taking Willa to the guy, like the Comanche guy, the Native American guy, who's the tracker.
Yeah, he's like a...
He starts defending Perfidia and saying she's like a freedom fighter. She's like, had passion. She was real. And then Willa is like, she's a rat. She's a fucking traitor and all this. And he is like, clearly is still so in love with her that like, I feel like the only reason he fully committed to trying to be a Christmas adventurer is because like he kind of lost his love of his life. In his mind, the love of his life.
Yeah, I think the idea is he's like trying to go the opposite way.
He's trying to suppress the emotions by going to the absolute extreme, I feel like.
Yeah. I always thought Perfidia would pop back up in that movie.
I thought so too. That's the one
But I
thing.
respect that it didn't.
I respect that it didn't. They hint at, in the letter, right? She says, one day I hope you find me.
I think that's a perfect way of including her in like the very end, basically, right? Because then walk out, needle drop, American Girl.
Yeah. Which, should we talk about American Girl?
Sure.
Because that's what I was thinking is different songs to replace American Girl, because I know you don't like American Girl for that scene.
Yeah, I like American Girl. I just don't like it.
Yeah,
like I said.
but things that might be thematic, but different songs.
Okay.
So I wrote down 10.
10?
These are just some off the top.
Okay.
I'm going to go by genre. So some of these are more on the nose than the others. Go Your Own Way, Fleetwood Mac.
Okay.
That hard no on that one. You don't think that one was good?
I'll table it, but it's not jumping out.
I Feel Free by Cream. That's the bump,
Yeah.
bump, bump. Last Child by Aerosmith.
What about What's Going On by Marvin Gaye? Mother.
I know what you're talking about, but that's okay. I think maybe something more soulful might be good.
And it's a song about Vietnam.
Okay, and
She's going back
you're saying
to
it's
war.
revolutionary,
Kinda,
back to
yeah.
war. Okay, I was thinking You can still do Tom Petty and maybe you do Mary Jane's Last Dance.
Where do you come in?
Last Dance with Mary
Yeah, I
Jane,
know.
One More Time to Kill the Pain.
I
don't know
obviously
exactly
like
where
American
you'd
Girl
come in.
better than that,
Maybe
but I
around the
see what you're
chorus.
saying.
This one's extremely on the nose. Revolution, Beatles.
No Beatles, I think, for the last song.
Just because it's a British band instead of an American band, is that your thought process?
There's too much. I think the sound's wrong.
It is a bit more hard rock than
If there was a
what they're
place for it in
probably
this
going
movie,
for.
yeah.
Wild Horses by Rolling Stones. I thought that might be good.
Don't take.
Couldn't drag me away from like the fight because she's going back to the fight.
I think it's too slow. Kind of.
I don't know if I agree with too slow because it should be kind of a slower ender for the end and then credits. And I think after American Girl plays in the credits, then they do Gil Scott Heron.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I can't remember.
Well, because that's the code they use the whole time.
Doesn't it cut back to something with the Christmas Adventures in the post credit or something?
Not that I remember.
Vaguely. I think I stayed longer the second time I watched it.
I watched I didn't pay attention the whole time in the extra credits, but I watched until they had the For Adam, which is like the very end. Because that's the the AD that died.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But I want to say that they start doing, because that's the code where they're like, Hooterville Junction, Beverly Hillbillies will not be so fucking relevant. That's Gil Scott Heron's poem, which is The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, which is like obviously a very revolutionary piece, but it's a poem anyways. Now this is going off more so of what I was saying about how there should have been like one hip hop song at least, and what if they put it at the end? So one that I thought of is The Light by Common. So that one, I was thinking they would go in with the I never knew a a love like this. Gotta be something for me to write this. Queen, I ain't seen you in a minute. Wrote this letter. Finally decide to send it. Signed, sealed, delivered for us to grow together. Something like that, because it's a love song, but it is slower, but it has a lot of like emotion behind it.
I think if we were gonna pivot from PTA's intention, we could do that. But I think by his American Girl pick, he's like not trying to focus on the Pravidia thing as much as he's trying to focus on like the next generation thing of like being back.
Well, that leads me into this one instead, which is The Next Movement by The Roots, which is the, hey, you listen and stop what you're doing and set it in motion. It's the next movement. We got the hot music, the hot music, the hot music, the hot music. I think that one might be really good for the end.
I feel like
And it's on the nose, but I think it's not too on the nose.
Does the movie end with like just her getting in the car?
Door close.
Door close, cut to
I
credits.
want to say it just fades to black or cuts to black.
I feel like for a song like that, you need like camera track in and then camera like lift up as like car like drives out of like, especially because they like lived in that like wooded area.
Maybe.
I feel like PTA doesn't really like that style as much though. Like he doesn't do a
For
lot
ending, like pulling up,
just
fading
in,
out.
just in general, he doesn't like to like push the camera as much through things.
Not as much as others, that's for sure.
I'm trying to think of that movie. I mean, other than like, there's a lot of car rigs, obviously, but like,
Well, of course.
those feel fixed.
Oh yeah.
Actually, and he likes a good dolly track.
That's true. There's a great. I was thinking this one shot, which I didn't really pick up on, when they're in the past at the beginning. Perfidia, instead of like the PTA door close, they're in a minivan, and Perfidia throws the sliding door, and then you're fixed on her. Then they cut between it.
Dude,
back and forth. That shot is fucking awesome.
That whole sequence is really good, man.
That sequence is good. And then when they start capping all the revolutionaries, it's very just captivating. And also like tragic, you know?
And I feel like that's like the only, there's not a lot of PTA action like that. Like cars
You're
crashing.
saying throughout his thing? His career, you're saying?
And man, is that, especially in theaters.
Especially in terms of like hard-hitting action. Because I would say the
dude.
oil rig exploding is action in There Will Be
You're
Blood,
right.
but it's not like... Or that's not really action, but like
It's the most action I can think of.
I was gonna say him killing his brother, but that's not really action.
That was
That's-
really
that's
slow
drama.
and like dramatic for sure. Like this is like
But
you're
the
in the
oil
car,
rig
you're
is like
moving
the
around.
only
That
thing.
is pretty action, right?
But then yeah, when the whole chase, the helicopter shots,
Those are so cool. I remember that actress who plays Pervidia.
Teyana Taylor.
Tiana Taylor was talking about how obviously when you're,
I think I did.
you know what I'm talking about? She's like, at PTA just kept telling me you gotta keep running because like from the helicopter, obviously you got to run a further distance to make it look decent. So she had to run actually like probably like 2 blocks,
Miles.
but like obviously each take. So
Well, over the course of the
yeah,
day.
so
miles.
it was a bunch, but it was worth it. Those were sick.
Well, and didn't she say, because it ends with her running into the parking lot?
Yeah.
Didn't she like say
just
like,
gets caught.
why you still gotta run? I'm in the parking lot. They can't see me.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
want to say she said
yeah.
something like that.
It's like go method,
That's
man.
good, man. That's good stuff, man. Well, actually, both of these films have young actors making their feature film debut, and they're both lead characters. Charlene, Willa, and the fucking guy whose name I literally can never remember, but he's the
Samuel?
musician guy, Sammy. Yeah,
Right? No, can't remember. I have no idea what that actor's name is, but
I can't remember either.
yeah, I guess there's that.
I think they're both good though. I think the Sammy guy is good.
Yeah, I think he's
in
good.
Sinners.
Yeah, I think it's more of a directorial issue with that one.
I agree. I don't think there's necessarily like bad acting in Sinners.
I like I was saying, there's no way this would be the biggest
might give
snub
it to him.
if he wins that, man.
You're saying
over
Michael
PTA.
B. Oh, you're saying director still. You're not saying Michael B.
I would be
lead.
less pressed if PTA just won Best Directing and then Sinners won Best Picture because whatever. And I honestly just think it might fall that way.
It could.
I think there's just more sway on the Sinners camp, but
The
I
best
just don't
picture
get
thing.
it.
I don't get too disheartened because like I think Spotlight's a good movie, but is
there's
it
a lo-
best
there's a
picture?
lot of bad
There's a
Best
lot of
Picture.
bad best picture wins.
But Best Director, man, that would be just crazy.
That one is like a dagger shot. if
I
you're
think
giving
that
it to
award
Coogler
is kind of
over
designed as a
PTA.
dagger shot, though, because it really never goes to
Quentin's never won it.
top. Marty didn't win it
Marty-
until he was
Yeah,
in his 70s.
fucking forever years old. Yeah.
PTA's never won one.
Has Coppola won it? I don't know.
He might have actually. Maybe like
He might have not though.
He either like definitely did or like he got snubbed.
Well, okay, he's definitely. If he hasn't won it, he's been snubbed at some point.
You don't think he's getting it for his next one? Megalopolis.
Megalopolis.
2?
Oh God,
He's
that
gonna have to
fucking-
sell another island off for it.
Epstein Island.
He had an Epstein Island.
Yeah, true that. Jesus. Yeah, there have been a lot of best picture snubs. The Coens winning Best Director is at the expense of PTA not winning for There Will Be Blood as well.
That's one where I can at least.
That one is close.
Yeah, so
I'm not, I'm not
I
pressed
can
about
accept
one.
that one. When did like
But they didn't win for like Fargo, and I don't know who won that year, but there's a good chance that was a snub fest too.
97?
I would say 99 to be honest, but that might be too late.
What was that, like Matrix?
No way they gave it to the Wachowskis for Best Director. That would be crazy to me.
I doubt it. I feel like we would have heard about that, but I
Right?
don't know. Some of that
Although they
stuff,
could have
yeah.
deserved it because they did some revolutionary shit in that movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Matrix? Have you
Yeah.
not seen The Matrix?
I've seen Matrix.
Oh, okay.
I think I've only seen one.
I've only seen the first one
Yeah.
as well.
Maybe I've seen the second one. And I was just like, this ain't the same thing.
Oh, hell no, it ain't. Have you heard the theory, though? This is a bit off topic. We can get back on topic. But have you heard the because you know the Wachowskis are both trans women now?
I didn't know anything about them.
So at the time of filming, they were men, and then they transitioned to women eventually.
Both
I don't
of
know
them?
exactly.
And they're
both of
brothers?
them, and they're sisters.
All right. Yeah, they were brothers.
Alleged. This is like a conspiracy theory. I think I don't know if they've confirmed their thought process, but the red pill is estrogen. Isn't that interesting? I thought that was really cool when I saw someone say
That's
that.
definitely a fan just having fun.
It's probably some fan shit, but I thought it was interesting.
Oh man. That's one red pill theory.
And Neo is trans. I haven't seen any of the other movies, so maybe that's a spoiler for the other.
Let's just pull that
movies.
soundbite out. All right, well, back on topic.
Yeah.
What else have we not covered with these two?
I mean, we only touched a little bit on the car stuff. That's probably like the most
that's just a
iconic
landslide
moment from the
talk,
whole
though.
film.
If we're just going,
What is there really to say though besides like it's beautiful, it's gorgeous,
It's amazing.
it's really well done, it's captivating for a
Some-
long chase scene.
Well, I mean, let's just talk camera rigging or like camera placement between the two.
Sure.
And I mean, Sinners, like you said, I guess it is kind of cool that scene where they go through history and they're singing because like the camera's like kind of just.
And that's like a oneer, isn't it? I'm trying to remember.
It's definitely like a fake oneer, but it's a oneer
Yeah.
because obviously they're like compositing whatever stuff on top of it. But yeah, it plays like a oneer. I think the camera just kind of like floats through because it goes upstairs and stuff like that. And that's cool.
That is a cool part, man.
It's nothing though like the car sequences.
Oh, those
in
are
One
completely
Battle.
different beasts anyways. Yeah, and I remember like I forgot actually that the Christmas Adventurer, he just shows up.
Yeah, when he's like in the final
Like
chase sequence.
they show him way earlier and then you don't see anything from him and then he's just in the fucking like blue Mustang or whatever pulling up to Lockjaw. And they do a good job of making him menacing despite being like a little loser in a quarter zip.
I guess just he has a menacing car for sure.
I just think he's like a methodical,
yeah, he does have
menacing
that
type
vibe
of
to
like
him.
clean cut
Yeah.
dude.
So something I think is interesting, and I remember when we were watching it. I mean, obviously, like probably the most iconic shots of the year were the car dip shots out of any movie. But when I remember watching it and thinking, wow, it's like really shaky.
There are parts.
And it might be like too shaky.
There's definitely one part where
And
I was
it's-
like, this is a bit much.
And it's like 100% intentional because I heard that whatever company he was like working with, they originally like rigged it on the like whatever decked out as fucking SUV that they had, and it was so smooth that PTA like hated it.
Wow.
So they like had to loosen certain parts of it to give it that like shake. And I mean, I can get that because like it would
want
look
some
kind of
shake.
yeah, you want some shake, but like sometimes it is like whoa.
Especially like you probably want some shake when it's Willa driving a little bit, some shake when it's Bob driving. I feel like you want almost no shake when it's the Christmas Adventurer though. You know what I mean? Because he's so like.
That's not really when I remember the crazy shakes.
No, I'm
remember-
just saying in general.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't remember exactly which one is the craziest shake, but I do remember last night watching it and I was like, whoa, that was a bit much.
Yeah, it's a bit much, but I mean, you know.
You know what part is really dumb actually, which I still don't like, is the part where the Native American guy drops off Willa at the
And then-
1776ers
yeah.
and then kills them all. It seems so it seemed like he kind of wrote himself into a corner on that one, and then he was like, this guy actually has to come back and like kill them all and also die himself so that it can just be Willa at the end.
Yeah, that's definitely some connective tissue that is a little less strong. And it just felt like you could kind of write around it a little bit smoother than that.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't that character though is kind of not necessarily the most interesting and kind of like
Oh, I think there's some interest there. I think for his screen time, he's interesting enough.
I guess because I am forgetting that he like
gets the goat.
Yeah. That scene's cool. Where he like
where he kidnaps him or where
yeah.
he's tracking him.
No, when he kidnaps him, because then like the kids like go
The kids are
immediately
waiting,
in,
yeah.
and they're like they're acting like all chill on the sidewalk, like they're just hanging out, and they immediately run in there and they're doing like the code thing twice.
Yeah.
That was cool.
The old goats in the wind, snack,
Yeah.
crackle, pop, snack,
Yeah.
crackle, pop. Yeah, that part is good. Well, I think that is really actually good subtly because it shows that the old goat, and I think is in a general sense the revolution, has made a connection with all these people in like where they live that got their backs. You know what I mean? Whereas they see this fucking military guy.
The police.
And they're like, yeah, fuck the police. Exactly. And like when Baxton Cross, when they send in all the army forces, the fucking city has a protest and like sets up against like the riot squad and stuff. I think it shows, they're riding for their own. Oh, sorry. There wasn't a cut there, was there? Oopsie.
Anyway, we just had a little discussion on the couch, and next week, you guessed it, surprise.
I don't know if it'll be next week or in 2 weeks.
Next time, surprise. We are talking some other element of Oscars 2026, or is it 2025? How does that work?
We'll say 2026 because it's in the year 2026, but I'm not sure.
But it's about movies in 2025?
But they can also be if they're like just submitted like January 31st, 2026, I think.
Is that actually how it works?
I think usually.
Was there anything in January?
Did Hamnet come out in the start of January?
I remember seeing that ad when we went to go see One Battle. Anyway,
They
we're
had an
talking
ad for
about
Wuthering Heights when we went to see One Battle, and that movie came out in like February. You know what movie?
Who
I don't know.
knows?
It's still come out. The Bride.
Oh God, I saw
That
an
looks
ad
like
for that the other
shit,
day.
but
yeah,
I
dude.
want to see it too.
I don't know.
Christian Bale as Frankenstein's monster. I need a bride. That shit looks fucking
No,
garbage.
he's actually just Frankenstein. Yeah.
Should we take it from the top again?
No, it's good. See you next time.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next time.